Some motorsports. I've got with me Ovais Naqvi, who's the first Pakistani professional to get a racing license. Well, let me correct this one. It's actually Dr. Ovais Naqvi. Ovais, great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Amr. Good to be here.
Well, that's, brilliant. I mean, a car racer who's also a doctor. This is interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's like you actually are a medicine doctor or
yes.
a PhD?
No, a doctor of medicine.
Brilliant.
And pretty, yeah.
So tell me exactly, what does this mean, the first Pakistani to get a professional racing license?
Okay, what it means is that I was the first person from Pakistan, local Pakistani, who was issued an FIA International C racing license, which permits me to take part in international formula races, circuit races, sedan car, so.
And you're also the first Pakistani to get a B license. Tell us about that.
Yes, that's also a significant milestone, because after you get the C, the next step is the B. And there's certain minimum requirements that you have to complete. You have to do 5 races internationally, and now I've done those. And so that's...
Well, that's brilliant. Like, how exactly are you connected with local sport, like with local motorsports and all? I mean, I know that you've got these rallies, you've got Gwadar, and you had actually a go-kart tournament also. So I mean, how exactly are you involved in it?
Well, firstly, I'm the General Secretary of the Motorsport Association of Pakistan. And besides that, what I'm doing is I've formed a company called Extreme Sports with Mr. Zahid Siddiqui, who is the country head for A1 GP Team Pakistan. So what we're doing now is trying to locally bring racing to Pakistan in a professional manner. And we're starting with go-karting, because that is the stepping stone. You do, like you said, you have rallies. You have, I think, 3 annual rallies happening in Pakistan, which is great. At the same time, you need for the young kids to get into the sport. The ones who are interested, who watch it on TV, but they don't have any way of actually channeling those interests and energies.
So let's face it, I mean, Lewis Hamilton, that's where he learned all his skills, go-karting, when he was about 8 years old.
Absolutely. Just last night on the coverage for the F1 race, there were people talking about how all the drivers now, Jackie Stewart said this, they all come through go-karting. So if you are a driver and you want to become a race car driver of any kind, you need to start with go-karting.
So, we had a tournament, I think, early this year, right? We had one.
Actually, last year, I put together the Pakistan National Karting Championship, and we had 3 rounds of that. And now we're doing it in a different manner. I'm actually, those carts belong to somebody else and things like that. So now this time we're doing it more professionally, where we're bringing in carts, the top-of-the-line carts from France. And what we're doing is we'll have 2 types of championships. One will be an endurance-based championship, which is for teams, and those will be 24-hour races. The other one will be for individual drivers. So, you can take part, your friends, anybody, it's an individual. They come in, they enter, and then we have races throughout the year, 1 race per month. So it's like a Formula 1 style concept. And there's points that are accumulated and standings, and it's exciting.
Right, Doc, now why don't you tell me where all have you raced?
Well, I started racing in Karachi, started with go-karting. And the kind of go-karting we do here right now, it's still the entry-level go-karting, because even in go-karts there's different horsepower and chassis, and it gets pretty complicated. But from there on, I went to Spain and Valencia. And I did a Formula BMW racing course in Valencia, 2 days. And then I went to Bahrain, and I did a Formula BMW advanced 3-day racing course at the BIC.
Formula BMW reminds me of Sebastian Vettel. I think that's what he is. Is that the guy?
That is right.
And Ralf Schumacher too.
Ralf Schumacher, Nico Rosberg, Sebastian Vettel. These guys are all ex-Formula BMW. They started their careers.
So are you telling me you've actually raced in the Bahrain circuit where the Grand Prix was?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. Oh, it's amazing. It's a beautiful circuit. It's wow.
So, and tell me, what kind of cars have you raced in?
Well, I've raced 3 types of cars. I've raced the BMW. Which is a 150 horsepower car. It's actually powered by a motorcycle, BMW motorcycle engine, but it reaches speeds of 220 kilometers an hour. And then I've raced the Formula Zip Fords, which was a series also in Bahrain called the Thunder Arabia. And those are Ford-powered engines, and they have about 150 horsepower. And then I've raced in the USA at the Virginia International Raceway in the Skip Barber series, and those are Formula 2000s, They're powered by Mazda engines, and they're also about 150 horsepower. So.
Tell me now, you look pretty fit actually, right? So now, is that part of what you need to do for motor racing? Because I know it's an important...
It's a huge part, you know, and right now I have a training regimen, and what I'm doing is I do 1 hour's worth of elliptical trainer, which is a cardiovascular exercise, and I do about 26 kilometers of that, you know, the distance that I cover on my elliptical. Then in the evening I do a 5-kilometer jog, and that takes me about half an hour, and right after that I hit the pool. And I do another kilometer worth of swimming in the pool.
Well, I suppose one needs to stay fit, because if you're racing a car someplace like Singapore, Bahrain and all that, and the heat level...
See, a lot of people don't realize, they think, oh, you're just sitting in the car and you're just driving it. But, you know, it's a tight space. And you're wearing a race suit, which has 3 layers of fireproofing, and then gloves, and then the helmet, and you have clothes on under that. So, and then you lose, a Formula 1 driver loses about 2 kgs of weight in the duration of a single race. So while the racing, you know, you have to have that fitness level to be able to handle the G forces. I mean, there's 2.5 lateral Gs on a driver's body during a Formula 1 race. So, you know, I mean, I'm not at that level, so I'm still only doing maybe 2 hours worth of training. The Formula 1 guys, they're doing 4 hours, and they're doing all kinds of high-tech stuff.
Tell me, Ovais, I need to know, what's the difference GP1, A1, Formula? I mean, what's the difference between all of them? Like any profession, you have levels as you go up. So Formula 1 is the pinnacle. Formula 1 is the pinnacle of any kind of racing. Racing itself is divided into different categories, as in, like you were saying, rallies, go-karting, circuit racing. In circuit racing, we've got the open-wheel single-seaters, and we've got the sedan cars and the GTs. Formula racing basically refers to those cars which have an open wheel. They are wings and slicks, and they're single-seaters. Now in that, there's many different categories. The junior levels include Formula BMW, Formula Renault, Formula 3. Then you've got the mid-level series like Formula Renault V6, A1GP, Indy Racing League, and GP2, and now a new series called Formula 2, which is going to start from May. And then you've got the top Formula 1. So drivers traditionally start in the lower series and work their way up, you know. You know what? You just said that you are, and I know you're the first Pakistani to get a professional racing license. What about Adam Khan?
He has the license. He got those before I did, but not exactly born and raised in Pakistan. Not really, doesn't have the cultural affinity, doesn't know the language, hasn't lived here, hasn't spent time here, hasn't had to deal with the difficulties we as Pakistanis do to come up through the ranks and go abroad and race, and you know, the funding and the sponsorship issues and things like that. So.
Right. So now tell me, you know, moving forward, what exactly do you have, you know, planned for Pakistan for motor racing in the near future?
Well, it's a big thing. What we're doing is we've tied up with a company called Rolam, based out of Lahore, and that's an event management company. And Extreme Sports and Rolam are putting together a big go-karting race. It's actually a grand race weekend on the 29th and 30th of November, and it'll be open to 20 teams, and there'll be one 4-hour race, and there'll be a sprint race of 1 hour. So one race on Saturday, one race on Sunday. Anybody can take part as long as you live here and are above the age of 16. And,
brilliant, super, Ovais. You know what, I'm going to try and follow some of the things that you said, how you keep fit, you know, but I'm not too sure if I can do that. That was Ovais Naqvi, actually Dr. Ovais Naqvi, the first Pakistani professional to get a racing license. Stay with me because lots of football coming right after this.